Hey, this is Tony. I'm not in the garden. I'm actually at my office with my wife Susan here, and there's a lot of noise behind us because of the road. We're right behind my magnolia tree here, and Susan has something to say about the magnolia tree.
Well, the magnolia tree is my favorite tree that we have here. I love the blooms. I look forward to them every year. I have the expectation that it's just going to bloom and give me opportunity to take photos, give off great scent. But this year there were no blooms at all. And so it was really disappointing because my expectation was not met.
Okay, so those two key words, expectation and disappointment, we're going to get into in a different part of this, not in a tree aspect, but in an interpersonal relation aspect of it, and stuff that we learned from actually a marriage seminar. And but it has nothing to do with marriage; it has to do with interpersonal relationships. And a tree is kind of an inanimate object, and we could kick it and nothing's going to happen. It's not going to talk back to us. I'm not going to kick my wife, but if I did, we would talk about it. And so we're going to go inside where it's a little quieter, and I'm going to explain to you about expectations and disappointments and communication. All right, see you later. Hey, we're inside. It's a lot more quiet here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we said outside about having expectations of the tree having flowers, and my wife was disappointed because her expectations were not met. But with a tree, it's a one-way communication. With people, it's two-way communication. So we have this ability to kind of head off any disappointments or anger about certain things. We learned it in a marriage seminar, but it's good for any interpersonal reaction. People at work, your children. I had this experience with talking to band members in my band, and so what happens is the first thing is that the expectation has to be conscious. In other words, you have to realize that you even have this expectation. And sometimes, like with the thing with my band members, it was about people responding to email in a timely fashion, and I kind of didn't even realize I had this expectation because I just kind of figured everybody responds to email. I check my email every day, but not everybody does. I found out that not everybody's like me, even though they should be. No. So I have to realize that my expectations might not be what somebody else has. So what happens was it has to be conscious. The other thing, it has to be realistic. I think it was realistic because everybody has a computer. It has to be spoken. It was not spoken. I did not express in communication what I expected in a timely response for email. And it has to be agreed upon. And so since it wasn't spoken, it wasn't agreed upon. And so I have no validity to being disappointed or upset because those factors were not met. So I'm going to show you a chart here, and you can see the chart. I'm putting it up because I think maybe if you want to look into it a little more, you can actually take a still of this picture. So in the left column, it says marks of valid expectations. It's conscious. Were you conscious or aware that you even had this expectation, like I explained? Was it realistic? Was it realistic in regards to the other person? Was it spoken? Did you clearly speak the expectation with the other person? Or did you just think they should know? Which was kind of the case with me with the email. And was it agreed upon after talking with the other person? Did you both agree to what we would expect? And so I did have a meeting with my band and spoke it and was agreed upon, and it cleared up a lot of problems. And so anyway, expectations and disappointments can be dealt with in a proper method with communications. So we got a lot of this information from a book by Peter and Jerry Scazzaro named Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. I'm going to flash up the book for a second, and this really has a lot of good tools in order to help you to have interpersonal relationships that work. Till next time, hey, peace, love, and great expectations.